I'd like to share a testimony I was listening to from a woman named Queen Dixon. You can find the full video on the YouTube channel called We Need to Talk. Let's dive in.
You talked about forgiveness.
Oh, Lord. You don't forgive, God ain't gonna forgive you. There's more Christians going to hell for unforgiveness than any other sin. I don't care who you are. If you try to act like you better than other people by not forgiving them, you're gonna go to hell with that pride. God forgave you.
What if they take the stance that I'm forgiven, but I'm not fooling with them, and you still got kind of like this little...
Right. Now, what she's about to say next blew my mind. It changed my entire perspective on how to forgive friends, exes, and so on. Let's dive in.
Let me tell you what I did. Let me talk about what I did. And this is what I learned from the Holy Ghost. This is through trial and error, and this is through the Word. I learned from the Spirit of God that if you are still holding something in your heart, pray every day and ask the Lord to remove it, to remove seeds of bitterness from your heart. Ask Him to help you to forgive them. I don't care if you got to ask 1,000 times a day. Keep asking.
Jesus.
It don't matter if you ask 20,000 times a day. Keep asking until that seed of bitterness is removed from your heart and you are able to talk to them again as if they never did it. That's how you know you forgave them.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So what does this mean? It's really hard to forgive people by ourselves. A lot of times to truly forgive a person requires God's assistance. Sometimes that feeling of anger or hate or bitterness might persist just for a second or two. Now, what are you supposed to do in those moments? Pray to God to remove that bitterness, because if you don't, you're technically still in sin. So prayer is the first step you should take on the path to forgiving a person. Let's listen further to know what the next step is.
If you can't talk to them no more, you ain't forgave them. If you can talk to them as if it never happened, you know you forgave them. You can move on. But until then, you better be begging and pleading with the Lord. Because He ain't gonna
It doesn't matter what they did to you.
It don't matter. Do you know what Jesus sacrificed?
Let that sink in. You have no idea how difficult it is to do that, because we've all been hurt by someone, but there are different degrees of hurt, right? It's easier to forgive someone who stole your t-shirt over someone who murdered your family, God forbid. But there are people who've gone through atrocious things and things that are so dark that would break down the average person. And a lot of time, those people usually have the biggest hearts. They're the kindest. You know, they're able to go through those difficulties and able to, continue their journey of life without hating or feeling resentful towards others. You know, they extend their arms and they show you love. That's what we should all strive to be like. But it's easier said than done. It's not easy to do. And that's why we need to talk to God and pray to God to give us that alley-oop, to give us that strength that's required to do what needs to be done. There are lots of gems in this interview that every Christian can learn from. So I highly recommend you watch the full video. Once again, what's the YouTube channel called? It's called We Need to Talk. Yeah, that's the name of the YouTube channel, We Need to Talk. It's a Christian podcast. This guy has a lot of dope interviews. I recommend all Christians to subscribe and, tap in and support and just learn, right? Yeah.